I'm David Toman, author of nootropicsexpert.com, and in this video I'm going to share with you what we found to be the best nootropics for depression. We'll look at the various possible causes of depression and why it's not likely simply, a neurotransmitter imbalance. And we briefly cover 24 different nootropic supplements that work well for different types and causes of depression. Nootropic forums and blogs often describe depression as a neurotransmitter imbalance in the brain, and then offer suggestions on various nootropics to help lift mood and banish depression. But this simplistic view of depression misses the complexity of this disease. Recent research has shown that depression can have many possible causes, including an out-of-whack mood regulation by the brain, genetic problems, stressful events, prescription medications, and medical problems. Now, it's true that neurotransmitters are involved in the process that contributes to depression, but it's usually not a matter of one neurotransmitter being too low and another too high. Instead, you have several neurotransmitters, amino acids, hormones, and other neurochemicals working both inside and outside of neurons. The interaction of these neurochemical reactions make up a highly dynamic system that is responsible for your mood and how you perceive and experience life. With this complexity, you may have similar symptoms of depression to the person next to you, but the issues in your brain and body may be completely different. So what works best for someone else experiencing your symptoms may not be best for you. And this is why we say in the nootropics community that your mileage may vary when describing particular nootropic supplements and how it feels. And it's also the reason why I can't simply recommend a nootropic stack to solve your problem, because it could be one of many things, and that's what we're going to get into next. It turns out that neuron connections, neurogenesis, and the action of neuronal circuits may play a more important role in depression than levels of neurotransmitters. For example, researchers in Munich studied 24 women who had a history of depression. And on average, the hippocampus was 9 to 12% smaller in depressed women compared to healthy women. And the more bouts of depression a woman had, the smaller the hippocampus. We know that stress plays a role in depression, and research has shown that stress can suppress neurogenesis, which would account for the smaller hippocampus in these women. Now, we also know that brain-derived nootropic factor, BDNF, a naturally occurring protein, is critical for preventing apoptosis, or brain cell death, growth of new neurons, or neurogenesis, and growth of synapses. Now, please check out a separate article that I've written on Nootropics Expert called 13 Nootropics to Boost BDNF. Increasing BDNF is one of the ways to combat depression, and you'll see some parallel between the nootropics that we're going to talk about in a bit and the list of nootropics used for boosting BDNF. Now, if you've ever tried antidepressants, you know that it often takes weeks to feel any benefit. Scientists have a theory that the value of these medications may be in generating new neurons, or neurogenesis, strengthening neuronal connections, and improving neural signaling. So now researchers speculate that new medications could be developed that specifically promote neurogenesis. But as it turns out, we already have this ability with several natural nootropic supplements. Now that we know that neurotransmitters are not the only critical part of preventing depression, we can't discount their importance either. Neurons are specifically designed to communicate with each other. When a neuron is activated, it passes an action potential down its axon to the axon terminal. Neurotransmitters are stored in vesicles in this terminal. The action potential, or the electrical signal, releases certain neurotransmitters into the synapse, which is the space between neurons, and onto the dendrite of the receiving neuron. As the concentration of neurotransmitters rises in the synapse, they bind to receptors embedded in the membranes of the two neurons. This release of a neurotransmitter from one neuron can activate or inhibit the second neuron. Once the first neuron has released a certain amount of the neurotransmitter, a feedback mechanism instructs the neuron to stop putting out this neurotransmitter and begin bringing it back into the first neuron. This process is called reuptake. In those who are severely depressed or manic, this fine-tuned system of the signaling goes out of whack. Either too much or too little of the neurotransmitter is released, or if the reuptake is overly efficient and mops up too many of the neurotransmitter molecules before they have a chance to bind to receptors, it can have an impact on your mood. Now, the primary neurotransmitters that play a role in depression include acetylcholine, dopamine, glutamate, GABA, norepinephrine, and serotonin. Each one of these neurotransmitters can be boosted or their reuptake affected by nootropic supplements, which we'll talk about in a minute. Depression is often the side effect of certain prescription drugs. These drugs include antimicrobials, antibiotics, antifungals, antivirals, heart and blood pressure drugs, hormones, insomnia drugs, tranquilizers, antacids, narcotic pain drugs, and more. Now, we know from experience that many of these prescriptions can be replaced by safer natural alternatives like nootropic supplements. But I'm not encouraging you to stop using whatever meds you're currently on without consulting your doctor first. I am encouraging you to seek out safer alternatives that often do the job just as well. Nearly all of us experience stressful events. And while not every one of us who faces stress develops depressive disorder, stress does have an important role in depression. Depending on how sensitive you are to stress, along with messed up neurochemistry and genetics, a perfect storm of any of or all of these influencing factors can lead to depression. So please check out my video that is on the Nootropics Expert channel here on Best Nootropics for Anxiety, which includes several nootropic supplements that help you deal with and conquer stress. If you are currently being treated for depression or suspect you may be dealing with undiagnosed depression and are looking for a more natural, a safer way to treat your symptoms, nootropics could be the answer. Now, you're not alone looking for alternatives to drugs that come with a host of side effects. Research in the United States and other countries show that a significant number of people use alternative medicine to treat depression. Researchers conducted a survey of more than 3,000 women in the USA to find out how many turned to alternative medicine for depression. Of the 220 women who said that they had been clinically diagnosed with depression, 54% said that they used alternative medicine to treat their symptoms. Now, we have found that the following list of nootropics works well for different types and causes of depression. But as I mentioned before, your mileage may vary. What works for me may not work for you. Wise and careful experimentation is critical to finding a safer alternative for dealing with your depression. We're going to start with Aniracetam. This is a member of the racetam family of nootropics. Aniracetam works with dopamine 2 and D3 receptors in your brain and desensitizes AMPA receptors or glutamate receptors. Aniracetam is one of the most effective antidepressants I've ever tried, and its effect on dopamine in your brain can have a profound effect on anxiety symptoms as well. Bacopa Monnieri, one of the most powerful herbs in Ayurvedic healing. Bacopa has been used for millennia to treat and relieve anxiety, fatigue, restore energy, and boost concentration. This adaptogen has been shown in clinical studies to work as well for depression as benzodiazepines and tricyclic antidepressants. Coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10. CoQ10 is your cell's natural source of energy, fueling your mitochondria by taking fat and converting it into usable energy. CoQ10 preserves brain function. It helps fight mental illness and migraines. Major depression and bipolar disorder and schizophrenia are now being recognized as having mitochondrial dysfunction in common, with higher oxidative stress levels. Studies show that 1,200 milligrams per day of CoQ10 in bipolar adults experienced a significant reduction in depression. 5-HTP. Now, I do not recommend using 5-HTP for treating depression, but thought to include it here in this video since it's promoted as a natural antidepressant. This amino acid is naturally produced in your body and synthesized from the amino acid tryptophan, which we get from food. 5-HTP is the precursor needed to produce the feel-good neurotransmitter serotonin. But a summary published by the Alternative Medicine Review noted a lack of evidence for loading precursors to treat depression. Combining 5-HTP with SSRIs, tricyclics, or MAOIs will cause serotonin syndrome, and the side effects on its own can be nasty or even deadly. Ginkgo Biloba. This tree is native to China and has been used for thousands of years to boost mental alertness, improve cerebral circulation, and for overall brain function. Many have found ginkgo to be very effective in reducing anxiety and stress and for boosting mood. 1,570 men and women in England participated in a study using 120 milligrams of ginkgo extract daily for 4, 6, and 12 months. Those who used ginkgo the longest experienced the most improvement in ratings for anxiety, depression, energy, drowsiness, sadness, and happiness. Iodine. Did you know that iodine-deficient populations are up to 13.5 IQ points less than average people? Since iodine has largely been removed from salt in many countries, it has been suggested that iodine deficiency is epidemic, particularly in countries like the United States. Iodine is essential to thyroid health, and nearly every tissue in your body relies on thyroid hormones. Not enough iodine can result in hypothyroidism, negatively affecting acetylcholine synthesis in your brain, affecting cognition, memory, learning, recall, and mood. Kava. Kava is native to the South Pacific, and the islanders use kava for its sedative effects. Kava can help reduce anxiety and depression. Now, unlike benzodiazepines, kava does not impair cognitive function. In fact, studies show that not only will it improve mood, but it boosts cognitive function as well. Lion's mane mushroom, also called the smart mushroom. Lion's mane boosts brain nerve growth factor, which increases neurogenesis. Lion's mane can help improve focus and attention, boost thinking, repair brain cells, and help anxiety and depression. Women in Japan received lion's mane laced cookies for 4 weeks during a clinical trial. The researchers found that lion's mane reduced anxiety and depression in these women during the trial. Magnesium. Lack of adequate magnesium can result in brain fog, anxiety, and depression. Plasticity of neuron synapses is affected by the presence of adequate magnesium in brain cells. A study was conducted with 5,708 people in Norway. The aim of the study was to examine the association between magnesium intake and depression and anxiety. The researchers found that low magnesium intake is related to depression. Mucuna Pruriens, or L-Dopa. L-Dopa is synthesized from the amino acid tyrosine in your body and is a precursor to the formation of dopamine, epinephrine, and norepinephrine in your brain. Mucuna Pruriens has been used in Ayurvedic medicine since 1500 BC for treating things like snakebite, intestinal problems, sexual issues, and melancholy mood. Research shows that supplementing with L-Dopa as Mucuna Pruriens extract is a great natural antidepressant. N-Acetyl L-Cysteine, or NAC. NAC is an amino acid that regulates the amount of glutamate and dopamine in your brain. And NAC is a precursor to glutathione, which reduces free radicals. A study with 75 subjects with bipolar disorder were given 1 gram of NAC twice daily for 24 weeks. Treatment with NAC caused a significant improvement with depression in these patients. N-Acetyl-L-Tyrosine, or NALT. NALT is a highly bioavailable form of the amino acid L-tyrosine. Your brain uses tyrosine to produce dopamine and norepinephrine. Dopamine is involved in libido, memory, focus, goal-oriented concentration, mood. It's a mood elevator and antidepressant. If you are ADHD, or have other issues with low dopamine, supplementing with NALT may help improve your memory, boost your IQ, and relieve depression. I highly recommend NALT for anyone using stimulants like Adderall or Ritalin for treating ADHD. Nefiracetam. One of the newer members of the racetam family of nootropics, Nefiracetam is used clinically to treat and prevent seizures, severe depression, and has shown neuroprotective qualities. The structure of this racetam is similar to the other great racetam antidepressant, Aniracetam. Researchers at the University of Iowa did a trial with 159 stroke patients with major depression. The study concluded that Nefiracetam produced a significant improvement in the most severely depressed patients. Noopept. This peptide-derived nootropic, related to the racetam family, is much more potent than piracetam, but its mechanism of action in your brain is similar to the other racetams. Noopept stimulates dopamine, nicotinic, and serotonin receptors and boosts cognition, memory, logical thinking, reflexes, and mood. Noopept increases alpha and beta brain waves, increasing relaxation and moving you into super learning flow states and joy. Phenylalanine. This amino acid is a precursor to tyrosine in your brain. Tyrosine helps in the formation and utilization of dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and melatonin. One study was done with 23 patients diagnosed with depression who had not responded to standard antidepressants. They were given 50 or 100 milligrams of phenylalanine daily for 15 days. The researchers found that phenylalanine completely improved mood in 17 of the patients within 13 days of the 17-day trial. Rhodiola Rosea. Rhodiola activates AMPA receptors in your brain, which decreases depression and stress-related mood swings, reduces fatigue, stimulates energy and alertness, and boosts cognition. A clinical trial of 57 patients diagnosed with depression were given Rhodiola Rosea extract, sertraline, which is also known as Zoloft, or a placebo for 12 weeks. The study found that rhodiola was slightly less effective than sertraline for depression, but produced far fewer side effects and was better tolerated. SAMe. SAMe is the naturally occurring amino acid methionine bound to an ATP molecule. It helps in the process of cell division and repair and the generation of the neurotransmitters dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, and melatonin, which is why it's considered a potent nootropic. SAMe is used to boost mood, relieve depression, and improve energy levels, and reduce symptoms of fibromyalgia. 20 healthy volunteers took part in a study receiving infusions of 800 milligrams of SAMe or a placebo for 7 days. EEG mapping during the study identified SAMe as an antidepressant, targeting brain regions crucial in the therapeutic efficacy of antidepressants. St. John's wort. This plant traditionally has been used for mood disorders and wound healing. Today it's used mostly for the treatment of anxiety, depression, and stress. St. John's wort works like prescription SSRIs by preventing the reuptake of serotonin in your brain. But please, please read the precautions for using this nootropic in the extended review over on Nootropics Expert before trying it as a nootropic supplement to treat your depression. Sulbutiamine. Sulbutiamine is a synthesized version of vitamin B1 or thiamine, which easily crosses the blood-brain barrier. As a nootropic, it's taken to boost mood, memory, and motivation. A study at the University of Wales, Swansea in the UK worked with 120 young adult females. Study participants took either a placebo or 50 milligrams of thiamine for 2 months. Mood, memory, and reaction times were monitored before and after taking the tablets. 2 months after supplementing with thiamine, participants were more clear-headed, they felt more composed and energetic, reaction times improved, and mood was better. Tryptophan. This essential amino acid is a precursor to serotonin and melatonin and niacin or vitamin B3 in your body. Adding tryptophan to your stack can help boost your serotonin levels and should help with anxiety, ADHD, depression, insomnia, memory loss, pain, and eating disorders. Turmeric. Turmeric is one of the main spices in curries. In parts of India where curries are eaten most often, Alzheimer's disease is extremely rare. This spice and its extract called curcumin has a unique ability to reduce inflammation common to Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and brain tumors. A study conducted in India looked at the efficacy and safety of using curcumin, one of the active ingredients found in turmeric, for treating major depression. 60 depressed patients took either 20 milligrams of Prozac, 100 milligrams of curcumin, or a combination of both daily for 6 weeks. The best response during the trial was with patients using the two. And the researchers concluded that curcumin could be used as an effective and safe treatment for patients with major depression. Uridine Monophosphate. This precursor to ribonucleic acid, or RNA, provides instructions to your DNA to help create memory by facilitating connections between brain neurons, the synapses. Uridine supplementation as a nootropic uplifts and stabilizes mood, is anti-stress, helps obsessive-compulsive disorder, is anti-anxiety, and helps modulate and normalize dopamine release. Vitamin B6. Vitamin B6 helps your brain make serotonin, norepinephrine, and melatonin. The activated form of vitamin B6, called P5P, is particularly effective in boosting serotonin and GABA in your brain. For depression, look for a P5P supplement or a B-complex formula that uses P5P. Vitamin B12. This B vitamin plays a key role in the efficient conversion of carbohydrates to glucose, your cell's source of fuel. It also helps your body convert fatty acids into energy. Supplementing with vitamin B12 can help lower anxiety and elevate alertness, cognition, energy, vision, elevate mood, and relieve insomnia. No more mood swings. Nootropics are a strong alternative to many antidepressant medications currently prescribed by doctors and promoted by the big pharmaceutical companies. But a very strong word of caution: if you are currently using any prescription antidepressant medications, or any medication for that matter, research each nootropic, including side effects and prescription drug interactions, before you use them. To finally beat depression, you must figure out the root cause of it. It is pointless to try otherwise without doing your research and experimenting with various nootropic supplements until you find out what works for you. So good luck in your search. There is hope. I know, because I've conquered my depression and came out the other side better than before. So that's my report on nootropics for depression. If you want to see links to the nootropics I was talking about in this video, go to nootropicsexpert.com and search for nootropics for depression, or click on the link below this video. There you'll find a full transcript of this video, and you'll find dozens of articles on all the well-known nootropics on Nootropics Expert. If you have any questions, or if you want to share your experience with using nootropics for depression, please use the comment section at the bottom of the post on Nootropics Expert. I respond to comments and questions at Nootropics Expert usually the same day. If you want to see more videos on all the best nootropics used today, subscribe to this channel before you leave. I'll be putting up new videos on nootropics and optimizing your brain every week. I'm David Toman, author of Nootropics Expert.